We speak now to Nigerian Rotarian Kunle Adeyanju. He is riding his bike from London to Lagos to raise the funds for immunization, especially polio, the Polio Plus Initiative. It's under the Rotary International. Their target is to raise 20 million naira. He's also the incoming president of the Rotary Club of Ikoyi Metro. Adeyanju has now traveled through France, Spain, Algeria and Morocco. He joins us now live from Dakar, Senegal. A very good evening to you, and thank you so much for speaking to us, Kunle.
And thank you for having me.
Perhaps let's just first start with your motivation for doing this. From London to Lagos, I can't even imagine us. Take us through, what inspired the idea?
Okay, personally for me, the way I'm wired is one of my before I die things. My bucket list, those things I want to do, those things I want to put my name on, those things I want to achieve, right here on earth. So the point is, this is who I am, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to achieve. How can I make this to touch humanity? I'm a Rotarian, I've been a Rotarian for the past 25 years. And even before doing this London to Lagos ride, I've actually climbed Mount Kilimanjaro twice, where I took the message of Rotary and polio to the summit of Mount Kilimanjaro, and I did that twice. So this is in continuation of my belief as a Rotarian, and that's not giving us credit as a Rotarian that we need to continuously fight, to make sure that we drive home the polio message. And because this is what I do, this is who I am, I'm an outdoor person. How can I use my skill? Because that's what Rotary is all about. We've all been blessed with some skills and talent. How do you use the skills you've been given? That gift in your hand, how do you use it? And the gifts I have in my hand, which I've been blessed with, which is I'm an outdoor person, then I use it to see how I can bless humanity. And I've personally taken on the message of polio, which is to see for me end of polio in Africa. Not only in Africa, actually the whole world at large, because it is somewhere else outside Africa, because people travel, the virus can still coming. So all those things we've been doing as a Rotarian, which is to make sure that, we immunize, like for example, we immunize over 400 million children annually. That's Rotary International. And if you see over the years, the last 3 decades, we've contributed about $2.4 billion to us fighting polio. These are huge efforts. And if you see that the administration of those 400 million vaccine we do, that we immunize children annually, is being done by volunteers like me and other Rotarians around the world. Advising us to make sure that we will do everything we can until polio is out of this country. So for me, that is my motivation, doing what I love to do, then using it to bless and to touch humanity. And that's what Rotary is all about.
So we've said you're riding, but Kunle, we haven't given descriptions of your transportation, and I'd like you to do that for us, because we want to have a fair understanding. When you say you have been riding through the Sahara Desert, through the Atlas Mountains, doing the twisties, just tell us about the journey, some of the challenges that you have experienced.
Thank you. The ride actually started in London on the 19th of April. And so my starting point was central London. I rode about 2 hours ride to Dover in London. That's the port. Then I went on the Irish ferries to cross the English Channel. Then that took me to Calais in France. Then so from Calais, I rode to Bordeaux, which was my first rest stop for the day. Then spent the night in Bordeaux, proceeded to Girona. Then from Girona, proceeded to Valencia, from Valencia to Cartagena, then from Cartagena to Algeria, also in Spain. Then where I took the ferry to cross the Mediterranean, the Strait of Gibraltar, into Tangier in Morocco. Then from Tangier, I went into Rabat, that's also in Morocco, then Rabat, Casablanca, then Marrakesh. Then actually, since the map actually for me, if I actually want to go straight, was to go straight through to Eswara and to Agadir rather than going through Marrakesh. But because I wanted to go through the mountain pass, I want to see what it is like. I want to have that experience. I want to know what it is like to ride on a twisties. You know, the Atlas Mountain, about 2,500 kilometers stretch across between Algeria and Morocco. So there's a mountain pass there. So you take the twisties that take you through the mountain pass to the top of the Atlas Mountain. Then you go down back on the twisties. And you know, this road has been regarded as one of the most dangerous roads in Africa. It's the kind of a road that, you know, you can't take your eyes off the road for 1 second. You can afford to be distracted for 1 second. Because if you do, both side of the mountain is a deep ravine. So, and you know, you are constantly under pressure. But I decided to go there because I want to experience the adrenaline. I want to know what it feels like to be under continuous pressure. That's how we are wired.
Kunle, before we run out of time, I want to understand, how do you choose your routes? I mean, what are the deciding factors? You talk about how some of the terrain is desolate, is isolated, as you've just described now, dangerous even, that you can't take your eyes off the road. So how do you decide? Do you have a GPS? And when you do get to rest, what do you do? Okay, yes, it took a lot of planning. You know, there are people who have done bits and bits of this ride before. Like some people have ridden from London to Spain. You know, I read up what they've done, where they passed through. A lot of people actually, an example for London to Spain, a lot of people will tell you, go through Madrid. When you go through France, then enter through Madrid and Seville, because if you go through the coastline, the wind force, the crosswind and the headwind, it's very, very terrible for a motorbiker. But I want to experience that, so I chose that route. And by the time I got to Algeria, that's the port where I was going to cross into Africa, I realized that it was really, really a very daring thing to do. That also coming into Africa, you know, because we know that going through Libya, going through other part of the middle of the Sahara, there are some security challenges. And if you find out that by geography, humans are usually occupied by the coastline. So going through the coastline, you know, is a lot safer because you have a lot of human residents there, but the middle of Sahara is desolate. So, but even if you go through the coastline, because there are some places where I rode for 200 kilometers and I didn't come across a soul. I'll give you an example. If you're riding from Nouadhibou in Mauritania to Nouakchott, which is their capital, it's about 598 kilometers. For 250 kilometers, you don't see anything. And if you don't have enough fuel, if your bike or your car cannot, you know, doesn't have the range to take you through that 598 kilos, you're going to be stranded. And really, it's not a place to be stranded because you are not likely to get help. All right,
so,
Kunle,
you know, and
we've run out of time, but here's some important stuff. I know you spent quite a bit of time attending to your ride, Eagle, making sure that it's, as you mentioned, fit for purpose. You have a GoFundMe page. Tell us a little bit more about it. How can people support you?
Okay, yeah, so the GoFundMe page, we'll be glad to share the link with you, and so that people can contribute. It's a link where we want to use to raise funds so that we can address all those daring challenges in communities. And the key one among them is actually for the Polio Plus Initiative. We need to get polio out of the world. If it's still there in one country, we are not that safe. And we have the technology, we have the vaccine, we can do it. All we need is support from well-meaning people. Even every little help counts. So the GoFundMe link will be made available to your network, and it will be glad if you can share this GoFundMe network to people around the world, the viewers in South Africa. They can join hands with us, join hands with the Rotary. Let's get rid of polio from the world, not only Africa, so that we can all be safe.
Nigerian Rotarian Kunle Adeyanju, as he has just given us a sense of what his experiences have been in his right to eradicate polio from London to Lagos.